Yetta, would you prefer a soloist or an orchestra?
Both.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are honored that for over 35 years, we've been able to come alongside you, not only selling, buying, and investing in real estate over 3,117 times, but coming alongside you to build your faith, build your fun, build your finances, build your fitness, family, and even friends, and even strengthen, heal, and flourish inside relationships, whether real estate or outside of that context. We're going to discover that collaboration grows the beauty and power of diversity in our thoughts, skills, and gifts. Diversity is opportunity for collaboration is really what we're going to explore.
Yeah.
Diversity of just the thought patterns that we talked about in the previous two segments.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things to demonstrate that is when you or I are working with a family and they're looking to buy a property, for instance, right? And they have different thought patterns and different desires in what the property might be.
For each of the people that are making the decision, not us, not different from us.
Yeah, so the partners may have different thoughts on what the ideal home is or what they would do to this home or what the ideal price to pay for this home would be. And then you can add in the mix of a couple of children, maybe, especially if they're more teenagers. Sometimes they get involved in the decision making. And so we have multiple perspectives and thoughts about this one decision to buy this home. And then as a real estate guide, one of our jobs is to facilitate that, to mediate that so that an all-out war doesn't take place, but everyone gets heard and everyone feels heard and everyone contributes to the decision. So, because the last thing you want is one person push all the buttons
and all the agenda
and they buy the house, and then the other person goes in later and says, I never liked this house. It wasn't my idea to buy it. I hate it. I don't like living here. Like, that's not what our goal is. Our goal is that everybody goes to the new home with excitement of what it has for everyone.
So our role, I'm going to say, or our job is to hear the thinking of everybody, each person that's a decision maker. And I'm going to put a little caveat and a little story in here, actually, around kids involved in the process of buying a home or even selling a home. A teenager, you might want them involved. We certainly involved our teenagers, like whether a move would be workable for them when they were teens. And even though they both said yes, and we explained it the best we could, and they gave their input, and we heard their patterns of thinking and their thought process. And even then, when we did it, one of them in particular had a really hard time with the move. And yet, if you have a little child, their thought pattern is going to be connected to often to the things they can see, to their understanding of what a move means. So we actually encourage families not to bring their young children to showings because they'll see great toys in that house, or they'll see toys they don't like in that house, which may make them say, I don't want that house. It's an ugly house, or the wall color is the wrong color, or it doesn't have the right swing set in the backyard that they're used to, so they don't want to make a move. There's nothing wrong with their thought pattern, and yet when is the right time to bring in each person's thought pattern? That's just a little caveat on that, because it's not always that there is room or space for everyone's thinking. So just being aware of when it's time to include and when it's time maybe to wait.
Yeah, speaking of include, would you like to be included in our community? You know, real estate is such a powerful vehicle for wealth building. And even if it's only your residence, right? It's wealth building. 90% of millionaires own real estate. And so we just like to connect with you. Maybe you own real estate now and you'd like more of it. Maybe you'd like a bigger one. Maybe you don't own any real estate and you'd like to be educated on it. Whatever place in life you are at, we would love to connect and to serve you and to give you information so you can start making wise decisions, right? So together at dekkerteam.com, just send us a little email. Tell us how you found us, that you'd like to be part of our community. That would be amazing.
And if you have specific questions, we can start right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm. So solo or orchestra, there's time for either, right? Like the power,
Time for both, do you mean?
There's power in an orchestra, right?
Yes.
But there's also power in a soloist, in their voice or their instrument, and the almost the aloneness of it, right? And then the orchestra can cut back in, or maybe it's a section of the orchestra's playing, and it's all high notes and little twinkles and whatever, and then it goes beep, doot, doot, doot. You know, I'm not really great at music, and yet I love the composition of
and
music.
the variety.
And the variety.
And that's what we want to do with thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We want to, at times, be able to celebrate our own thought process and not have that interrupted.
Yeah, and this really helped because our son, was ADHD. And so he was bouncing off the walls and all different things. And then what we realized is he's playing a different instrument at a different rhythm.
And a different pace.
Maybe he's playing the drums and we're trying to do a flute, and be nice and quiet. And in comes the drummer. So if you start to look at, that thought process is just a different instrument in the orchestra of life. And how do I appreciate that? How does it add to everything we're doing, right?
And how can I celebrate them for the way they think?
Yeah. And now if we take this orchestra idea and we move it into housing, like if you're going to build a house, right? You're going to have a designer, an architect. That's going to be like your composer. Then you're going to have a general contractor, or it might even be the architect that takes on that position. But that's like the conductor, right? And then you have all the individual tradespeople. It's generally not the framer, is not the guy that puts the trim on or finishes the flooring. There's different expertise in each area.
Or the plumber or the electrician.
Yeah, because they have knowledge, skills, expertise, and they're faster, better, and more skilled at it. And same thing with, now take that and relate it to thoughts, right? And what can we get?
Well, we get possibility, we get options, we get opportunities that abound, we get an outcome that we couldn't get on our own. Like it's not possible.
Yeah. So my question is, what are you currently working on where you could invite others in and get their mindset, their perspective, their skills that would make it even
better? I was mouthing it, but not saying it. So if you're not watching this, if you're just listening, you might want to go over to the YouTube channel, Dekker Team, so that you can see the craziness that goes on in front of the camera.
Behind, yeah. So we're thrilled that you joined us on Life's Inside Track, because when we move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.